John Coleman, there's been a fair bit of talk this week about off-the-field matters here at Accrington Stanley and your future and Jimmy Bell's future and John Doolan's future and your contractual status, and your long-time assistant Jimmy's been speaking about this quite openly. What's the feeling about the medium to long-term future at this club, given you are out of contract in the summer?
I mean, if you think about it, the football now, the future's now, isn't it? And, you know, our big concern is MK Dons on Saturday. So that's what we're focused on. You know, people can make a lot out of it. People can make out that, you know, there's a divide, there's a split in the camp, whatever. We're all on the same page. You know, we know that all of us, myself, Andy Holt, Jimmy Bell, John Doolan, we all agreed that we have to avoid what's happened to a lot of teams where they have one relegation and they just can't get off the slippery slope. So we're all on that same page. We all know that we need to galvanise and make sure the first mission this season is to stay up. Now, obviously, you know, that's not the sum total of our ambitions, and you know, I think if you ask Andy himself, he'll say that, you know, let's get the main objective over the line, and that's where I'm exactly on the same page. So is Jimmy, so is John, so is Dibbs. So, and then we want to be ambitious. Of course we do. We feel as though we can have another go, and you know, but we have to steady the ship first, and that's our prime objective. So, you know, anyone who's looking too deeply into it can be getting mixed, or not mixed signs. They can be getting the wrong signs. So we all know what we've got to do, and we'll do our best to do that. And you know, I've worked here long enough without a contract, so that's never going to affect my performance, or it's never going to affect what I do. And when you love football as much as we do, that's your primary focus, and your primary focus is playing the game on Saturday. And you know, our mission is to keep this club, which has now become a really good club. Not that it ever wasn't, but you know, the facilities that we've got to keep it in the league, you know, and to justify that, and to justify the outlay, and hopefully to grow the club, and maybe have another tilt at League One, and then who knows where that goes.
Is it important to remember that Coleman and Bell, although you've been together all these years, aren't sort of one amorphous being? You're two different people. You've got different views, different opinions. Yeah, you can be forgiven for thinking that, but you know, we're pretty much aligned, aren't we? You know, there's no panic. There's certainly no panic here. And you know, I think one thing that came out of the interview that Jimmy did, I'd only seen a little snippet of it, to be honest, but how passionate he is about the club, and there's anything wrong with that. You know, and we're all singing off the same sheet in the fact that we want to galvanise the club, and we want to stop that slide. Now, you know, the fact that we stayed in League One for so long on the resources that we had, and that's no one's fault, the resources, you know, it is what it is. Don't complain about going into something if you're not happy to try and compete. So it's no one's fault that the resources are where it is. You can't spend money that you haven't got, and I've never, for once since I've been at this club, advocated spending more money than I've got. And so, you know, people just think, oh well, you know, the way we went out was a bit disappointing last year. No one more disappointed than myself and Jimmy and John and Andy. So, you know, but you don't set out to get relegated deliberately. But it's our mission not to get relegated again, and then see if we can challenge at the top end. And you know, we've had a couple of decent wins. I still, if I'm truthful, I'm still not happy the way we've been playing this season. I think because we've got so many young players that are still learning, our style of play. So I certainly haven't got carried away with the wins that we've had in recent weeks. Just as I haven't got too downhearted about the defeats. And I think you've got to have a level head in this game. And if you're going to make decisions, you've got to do it based on sound knowledge and knowledge of what players are playing and how they're playing and what outfit they are and who's in form, who isn't in form, you know. And there's
different factors that goes into the makeup of a footballer, let alone the makeup of a football team. So, that has to be right.
How important is it to transmit to those players 50 points or whatever it needs to be as soon as possible and take it from there?
I think the players know that. But it's important to transmit to the players that the more wins you get, the more you can challenge for the juicy bits next season. So, if you want to be playing 3 or 4 games on the telly next year when they're challenging for the playoffs, they've got to get the finger out now, basically. And we've all got to get our finger out. And, that's the key. 3 points in October is only about the same as 3 points in April. And so we've just got to get it right and work hard to get it right. And we've been doing it for so long, it's second nature. But, people want to make stories, people want to make negative stories, and they can quickly, develop. Oh, Jimmy's not happy, or Andy Holt's not supporting them. And, we've had all the support we need. So we just got to keep going, keep trying as hard as we can. And, try and play a little bit better, because I know if we start playing a little bit better, I think the confidence will come a bit more, and then we can go on to win more games. And that's the key, winning your games, winning games, and trying to keep in that top half with a chance of threatening come the latter end of the season.
Was that win at Grimsby a step up in terms of performance? I appreciate you saying there's a lot more to come and you feel like they're not reaching necessarily their potential, but were there signs in that game that there has been an improvement?
Well, the one thing that is factual is the amount of running we did in the game, because we have the stats on that. And that was our best performance of the season, running wise. So that tells you that, the players were giving it all. And hands on heart at this level, if players give their all, can you fault them? I don't think so. When players run themselves into the grounds at any level, you can't fault them. Certainly at this level, when they're not paid millions and they don't drive Rolls Royces and that are being camouflaged every weekend. So I think we're very much in touch with reality here at the club, and the fact that we can go in and speak to the fans in the club and they appreciate that. I think that's what makes us special from any other club, really.
Are you surprised to see MK Dons in the situation that they're in, change their manager this week, perhaps expected to be among the front runners in this division, having gone down with yourselves?
Nothing should surprise me in football, but I was surprised. There's a perception within MK Dons. I don't know where it's actually developed from, but that there's only one style of football they can play. Well, it's all well and good playing attractive football. You've got to win games. And I know what side of the fence I'm on in that. You need to win games if you're going to be successful. And fans love winning games more than they love pretty football, I can assure you that.
They have a new manager who'll be in charge. Do you largely know what to expect? Because there is a sort of blueprint set out of the way that they want to play as a club.
Yeah, Robbie Elliott's been at Gateshead for a bit now, so I spoke to him a couple of times, and I've watched them play, and they do play some great football. And, he's got to transmit that into a team or a club that wants to play that, and then he's got to make it a success. And he's got good credentials. He knows the game, so I wish him all the best. Just not Saturday.
Do you beware the new manager bounce, or is that not a thing when you've been in the game as long as you have?
You'd accept it's going to be something that, something different, hearing a different voice, often has the desired effect. We've got to play the way we know we can play, and we've got to improve in areas that I know we've got to improve in. And we are still playing with younger players, so we'll show them, we'll advise them, we'll lead them down a decision-making process, and then hope that they make the right decisions on Saturday.
When you play a possession-based team, do you have to impose yourself as much in a home game particularly as against a team maybe who were set up to counter-attack against you? Is it more about you than them, or does their style make it that dictates what happens in the game?
If you're going to be serious about winning games, you've got to concentrate more on you than them. If you're going to win games, if you're trying to draw games or not get beat, or damage limitation, then you do focus more on the opposition. I don't know whether you've seen some of the game on Saturday, but some of our passing was very good on Saturday. Just we wanted to do it a bit more. The pitch was bobbly, it was windy, sun was getting in their eyes, which you can use that as an excuse, but when all three get stacked up against you, it's difficult to play the way they want to play. We did manage to get it down in the second half. The build-up for the second goal, I know they had 10 men, but the build-up for the second goal was good. Intricate passing, which I know we can play. And we're trying to get the players to be more patient. Now you flip yourself back to the Harrogate game. So the ball goes back to John McCracken. He puts his foot on the ball and he waits. So that wait, which would normally be 2 or 3 seconds, doesn't garner anything. But when it goes to 12 or 14 seconds, the fans get a little bit restless. We're playing at home. Whoa, why are you getting forward? Whoa. And it was a groan. And I actually heard the audible groan. And he stuck to his guns and he kept it for a couple more seconds. Then the player ran out to him. He passed it off. Within 2 passes, Jack Nolan was running into their box. And sometimes the fans have to be patient as well and understand what we're trying to do. And we want to pass the ball more. Yeah, no one's been more disappointed with me when we've run big balls up to a big man and it keeps coming back. They're not instructed to do that. Unfortunately, sometimes you get pushed down an alley that you end up doing that because you feel it's the best way of averting danger when it's probably the worst things. Like, what was it? Throwing cold water on a burners or something that you shouldn't do. But people do it. I'm not sure. But, people think that that's the best way of avoiding danger by kicking the ball as far as they can, but all you're doing is surrender the possession. And we've got to be mindful of the fact that at home, we've got to try and keep teams penned in. When we do that, we're very good. When we don't, we look decidedly average. How's
Seamus Keneally? Believe he got a little bit of game time in a bounce game, as you call them.
Yeah. I think he got 25 minutes, which is good for Seamus. And he ran rounds, and we'll assess him today and tomorrow.
Why are they called bounce games?
Because you bounce around. I don't know. I've never ever. I think I might have to ask who's the lady on Countdown.
Susie Dent.
Susie Dent.
Not Judi Dent. That's
Judi Dent. She's an actress. Susie Dent. Yeah, I think we should ask Susie Dent about the origins of the game bounce game, or the word bounce game.
And just give us an insight into how Andy Dibble's mum has helped with preparations this week.
She's provided us with unbelievable Welsh cakes with currants in. Jimmy doesn't like currants, which means that there's more cakes for me and John, and Scalzi, and Dibbs and all the other staff. She's still going strong, and we wish her all the best with her baking skills.
And I know football people are pretty superstitious. If you win this weekend, is she going to have to supply every week?
It's a long way for Dibbs to go, It is a long trek, but I mean, there's a lot of birthdays as well, so there's possibly too much gluten knocking around at the moment.